a wasteful and inefficient border wall. I don't know what the president is hoping to accomplish with this request.
The president's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, told Fox News that the issue of the wall and border security is of, quote, paramount importance. For NPR News, I'm Allison Poley.
Democrats have chosen the host city for next year's nominating convention, saying the Democratic National Convention will be in Milwaukee. The move takes the party to the heart of the working-class upper Midwest, an area that helped propel Trump to the White House. For 2016, Republicans hadn't won Wisconsin since 1984. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett says his city beat out a number of competitors.
There's competition from the East Coast. There's competition from the West Coast. There's competition from the Gulf Coast. And I am here today to welcome all of America to America's Fresh Coast, because that is where this convention is going to be held.
First time in more than a century, Democrats have gathered in a Midwest city other than Chicago to nominate their presidential candidate. Stocks beginning the week broadly higher, though the Dow's increase was tempered a bit by Boeing's woes. The Dow still was up 200 points. This is NPR.
Well, good evening to all our tech fans. Hope you're doing well out there. And I know I'm doing well. And Guru, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic.
Another Monday,
Yes.
another Hey Techies show.
That's right.
Couldn't get any better.
No, episode 161.
Well, it could get a little better. Yeah, we're down a person tonight.
Who knows? He might show up. He said he's just going to be late. So
yeah,
we'll see.
You said right before we went on. I don't think
I just got a feeling.
He's got a feeling.
Yeah, he might text us later. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
But anyway, of course, he may just run right in while we're just not even watching. But anyway.
He'll just sneak in the back door.
Right. So if you want to be a part of the Hey Techie Show, that phone number is
256-782-5600.
And if my eyeballs catch that little green light blinking while I'm chattering away, we'll get you on the air. Also, HeyTechiesShow.com. That's where you can find everything about our show and ways to connect and ways to talk to us and ways to watch. So anyway.
Yeah, download our podcast.
That's right.
If you're first time listening, there's 160 shows, 161.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've pretty much all of them out there. But anyway, 161 previous shows. You can go out there and binge listen.
Yeah, that's true.
You're welcome.
You could. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome for your insomnia cured. You're welcome.
We'll send you the bill.
Sure. So anyway, well, we've got a few headlines here, and I will start it off since mine are not that long tonight. I sort of got them in as best I could. Electric car maker Tesla reports in a blog post the company will raise prices by 3% on all but one model, the base Model 3. This comes as they reverse an early decision to close almost all of their walk-up traffic stores. As a result, only a smaller number of stores will close. Tesla will still be an online ordering car dealership, as visitors to their store will be directed to the website for ordering. And if you are interested in baseball, and many are baseball fans, you know over the last many years, baseball has been trying to implement a computerized system. Well, TrackMan, a computer that uses Doppler radar, will inform umps of the balls and strikes through an earpiece. The new computerized system will go live April 25th in the Atlantic League. That's a minor league. During testing, some umpires say it's far from perfect.
I want to know where the nearest Tesla store is.
I thought it's in Atlanta.
I think it
Isn't
is.
That where? I think that's where Bruce and Ted went.
Yeah. Anyway,
to test drive.
That's
one.
just a side thought. So, not to turn this into a politics show, but Senator Elizabeth Warren is proposing to break up large tech companies like Amazon, Google, and Facebook. Her plan would classify platforms that make more than $25 billion a year in revenue as a, quote, platform utility, end quote, and prohibit these companies from using these platforms to sell their own products. This would mean that Amazon could not sell Amazon Basics products, and Google could not promote their products in search results. Warren's recent post to Medium with her plan did not mention Apple, which would meet the criteria as a platform utility. When The Verge asked Warren about Apple, she responded that Apple should be broken up. She went on to say that it should not get to run the App Store and distribute apps in it. Warren told The Verge, quote, "It's not to be one or the other. Either they run the platform or they play in the store. They don't get to do both at the same time," end quote. Warren's plan would also require Facebook to spin off their acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. And finally, some positive news. SpaceX, what?
Sorry, that's great transition. Continue.
Well,
it's super.
I mean, politics sometimes depressing.
No,
we try not to bring that into the show that
right.
much.
So
but, anyway, so we reported last week about SpaceX DM-1 mission. They sent the Crew Dragon to the space station, very successful. Well, they had the greatest test of that was on Friday, this past Friday. The Crew Dragon spacecraft undocked from the space station to begin its journey back to Earth, enduring temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun during re-entry. The SpaceX Crew Dragon craft made a successful splashdown in the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of Florida, right on schedule Friday morning. The next test for the Crew Dragon will be its in-flight abort test scheduled for June of this year. And that is your headlines.
Interesting. I am specifically interested in this whole thing. I mean, I know where Elizabeth Warren gets these ideas. My problem is, what is the difference in a retail store selling their own labeled product in their retail store and this?
They're saying platforms. Like, they're classifying like Facebook as a platform.
I know that.
Google as a platform. Amazon, which...
But Amazon
but that starts to go like, okay, yeah, because like you think of like, let's just use Walmart as an example. They have great value. And they have several different private label brands.
And some of them are labeled right along the real labels in these other manufacturings, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, but they're labeled as...
somebody make it for them.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, Amazon, they don't have an Amazon Basics plant. They had somebody manufacture...
Correct, right. There's no difference here. It's just sold online. She's just aggravated that somebody's making more money than she is. I'm sorry.
And the thing about Apple, about them, they can't run the App Store and distribute apps in it.
Well, Bruce thinks
the App Store is their App Store.
Correct. Yeah, it's like going to Walmart and buying something from Walmart.
So you go into the Walmart, like owns the building, but they don't own the operation of the building.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I know where she's getting at. I understand where her mindset is. I just don't agree with it. I don't think it has anything to do.
It just gives her attention right now because everybody's focused on, who's running in 2020 for president of the United States. I mean, we're not even partway through 2019, and that's already like...
Sure.
But every night, if you watch the mainstream media, they're talking about somebody else with 2020.
Oh, I think we had a call. If that's okay. I didn't catch it.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, I did. It did ring. Well, if you
were
listening,
it's wrong number.
Call back. I really did. It's hard to talk and catch that. We just don't have anybody in here that can dedicate themselves.
Yeah, if you're interested in being a call screener volunteer basis, please email us.
You have to be very quiet.
Michael@HeyTechiesShow.com. I was call screener for like 2 weeks, and then you put me over here running this board and actually being like producer.
It sounded better that way. Plus, we got to hear you talk.
Oh, well.
I think we had a problem with one of the mics at that time. One of them wasn't working.
Yeah, that's true.
And I soldered one. This goes back a while. The solder.
It's a war story, isn't it?
That's right. The solder was not right, and I resoldered the line, and it.
So let me mention this real quick, since we're talking about politics, and I know some people don't like us talking about it, and I apologize, but this This is tech. It's got a tech angle, so hang on. So if you're local to this area,
You go ahead.
Okay.
I'm watching. You go ahead.
the Alabama State Legislature is working. They're in special session right now, and basically they've been tasked by the governor, Kay Ivey, to. Oh, sorry, I hear like a buzz in this
It's
mic.
me.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
So-
continue.
We're in the special session. She's got this plan to rebuild infrastructure
Right.
in Alabama, and the way they're going to fund that is by a gas tax. That's how it's been in the media, gas tax. And it's passed through the House completely, and it's now to the Senate. And I think today, as of the day we're recording this, March the 11th, 2019, it passed committee in the Senate. So I guess it'll get before the full Alabama Senate tomorrow. But basically, besides a gas tax of 6 cents per gallon, it'll increase every year up to 10 cents by 2021, I believe. One thing that, there's like a vehicle registration fee that's increased $13 for like a passenger vehicle, $7 for motorcycles. But here's the thing that I want to get to tech related. So plug-in hybrid vehicles will have an additional $100 tax.
Right.
I don't know if fee, tax, whatever. You got to pay an extra $100 if you have a plug-in hybrid registered in the state of Alabama. If you drive it on public roads, which means you have it registered with the state. If you have an electric vehicle, so those of you who are buying like a Tesla Model 3, for example, $200 per year. And I think there's some verbiage in there. They have the ability to increase that if they need be.
They always do. Government can never do with less.
So I feel like I see that light flashing.
No, you're not.
Anyway, but yeah, I wanted to bring that up about the electric vehicles. They're trying to gain traction, Elon Musk, and not just Elon Musk with Tesla, but other manufacturers of electric vehicles. And now you've got the state of Alabama proposing, it looks like it's going to pass unless something happens tomorrow in the Senate.
Sure.
$200 additional dollars. And it's all because they're not consuming, fuel. So
Right.
they're not going to be subject to a gas tax because they don't consume gas
Well,
directly.
I misunderstood originally, and I thought it was pertaining to even regular hybrids. But apparently, from the verbiage that we read earlier,
Yeah.
it's not.
And it could have changed because what I read, and we'll put the link to it in the show notes as it is right now, because
Right.
you can go. This is all online, and they have the current verbiage as it is today.
Correct, right?
It's still being considered as of the time we're doing this show, so that could potentially change before it's actually signed into law. But yeah, it's plug-in hybrid. So if you have a hybrid vehicle that is not a plug-in type,
Correct.
you're not subject to this additional fee, tax, whatever. But if you can plug your hybrid in,
right, and
$100.
right. But now all vehicles would be subject to the $13.
Yes, absolutely.
If to be able to drive them on the road.
Right, that means you would have it with the basically you go down there and get the tag for
Sure,
it.
right.
That's you're registering it to drive on public roads.
Correct.
And I don't want to turn this into politics again, but I get they've got to figure out how to fund infrastructure, and you can debate the merits of it, but like
I don't think some of the money they've already collected is going to some areas.
I think you're right there. I mean,
That's
I don't
part of
want
the
to
problem.
I don't want to get into all that, but when you're trying to advance new technologies like electric vehicles, this does not help that. Now if you're like this uber rich, super rich, and you've got all this cash, and you
Right.
buy the most expensive Tesla they make because you have that money, I don't think you're really concerned about the $200 fee.
Yeah.
But for somebody that's more middle income, like, they have a $35,000 Tesla, which a starting price. With some of your more upper end sedans
Sure.
can be in that price range. So, but if it's to you, it may make sense to you, but then there's another $200 you got to factor in. Well, now I got to pay an extra $200 in taxes, basically, on top of the tax you already pay for the value of the vehicle. Because in Alabama, part of our taxes we pay when we register our vehicles
Right,
based on the
sure.
value of the vehicle.
Right. Exactly.
And so it's just interesting to. And I'm not a political analyst or not, but just the tech angle of the electric vehicles are going to be subject to additional fees. And I mean, you can debate that all you want, but I mean, they're not going to consume fuel, so they're not going to pay a gas tax. So they're going to get money from them some other way.
Well, they pay utility tax, don't they? If you get
You're absolutely
if you
right.
get the power from the utilities, which you'd have to one way or the other.
I mean, somebody's
paying the tax.
Whether your employer has a way you can plug it up.
Now, of course,
or
they would say,
that
tax doesn't go back to building roads and streets and bridges, and I'm not sure what tax is going to do that actually. Yeah. But anyway,
so I think we're done with politics for tonight.
Well, we'll see. When the Hey Techies show comes back, I'm going to figure out if I can get my mic turned up a little bit. It seems low tonight. Or maybe it's my headset. I don't know. Hey Techies show. Be right back. Well, why did that do that?
You ready?
I guess so. Hey, Techie Show.
Sorry, we're a little behind the scenes work going on here. Apologize for that.
Well, I was trying to do this for you.
Well,
no. It's not that. It just
something real quick here while Michael's working on that. So, late. Let's see. I guess it was sometime last week. There was a meeting at the White House. Let's see. At a dinner for the Republican National Committee donors at his Florida club at Mar-a-Lago on Friday, President Trump, he complained that his Tim Apple flub was fake news. I guess earlier in the week, I kind of misread this, but earlier in the week he referred to Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, as Tim Apple. And then Tim Cook changed his name on Twitter to Tim Apple. Well, then this is I just found this during the break. So President Donald Trump says he didn't slip up when he referred to Apple CEO Tim Cook as Tim Apple at a White House meeting. Trump tweeted on Monday, today, I quickly referred to Tim and Apple as Tim/Apple as an easy way to save time and words. The fake news was disparagingly all over this, and it became yet another bad Trump story, end quote. Trump made a comment last week after the session. Cook altered his Twitter profile, replacing his last name with the Apple logo. Okay, the Apple logo. At a dinner to Republican National Committee donors at his Florida club Friday, Trump complained that his Tim Apple flow was fake news.
Nah, who cares?
See, I should have been ready for that. Where is
Trump Apple?
So anyway,
Tim Apple, huh?
Tim Apple.
Apple Johnny Ives seed.
Sure.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I guess it was today, they said their new event will be March 25th. I've got too much on the brain.
You know, we have a rumor segment.
But that's not a rumor. This part's not a rumor.
Okay, but there's
It's
rumor
been confirmed.
there's rumors about that.
No, I got that, but the date has been confirmed.
Listen to episode 160, 161, and probably
and all the rest. There'll be Apple rumors on every episode of the Hey Techies show.
We may have some more to tease tonight, some different ones.
Yeah, so anyway, but my point is the date has been solidified.
The date is set, folks. Yeah. March 25th.
March 25th, 10 a.m. Pacific.
So that'd be 12 p.m. Central.
Correct.
Daylight saving time.
Yeah.
Yay for daylight saving time.
Yeah, lost an hour.
It's still dark when I leave for work, but it stays daylight an extra hour.
I still haven't gotten my hour back from losing it over the weekend.
Well, what if we just stayed on this all year?
Yeah,
stay on daylight saving time all year long.
There's some proposing that too.
Oh yeah, I think President Trump today was asked about that, and he said he's fine with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Moving on. I think that's the last of politics. Well, I can't promise, but we're going to try to keep politics out of it.
No, it's fun.
You can listen to your mainstream media for plenty of politics.
But so I've got this other thing here. It's just a blip, but it's interesting. All of you fun folks who like NCAA March Madness, guess what?
What?
The NCAA is already going to be streaming a lot of their content, but according to this, they will be making the March Madness Live app available on 17 platforms for 2019.
And how much will it cost?
I don't know. I think it's just an app you download, and I think it's ad supported.
Okay.
Including first-time support for Android TV.
Android TV?
Yes. You know, the Android TV service. You can
get
it. It's built in some TVs.
I thought you were talking about a physical device, but no,
it's built in some
It's a service.
Yeah, it's a software. It's built into some
like
TV.
Hulu and okay.
And Oculus Go.
Oculus Go.
Yeah, so you could watch this like
anywhere.
On an Oculus,
just open
with
your
the
eyes.
goggles, right?
Be like you're there,
and
That's
it would be
cool.
like a big screen, and you're going to be able to choose different things to do, and there's going to be
That's the Oculus thing's neat. That's an interesting.
I'm
not a huge basketball. I don't watch a lot of basketball.
It'd be like me getting in the vomit comment.
But it'd be interesting to, But it'd be interesting to watch at least part of a game through Oculus. That'd be interesting.
Years ago, when this was a big thing, 3D TVs.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah,
and I think they still have some. 3D content's not dead, but it's probably close to.
It's almost a novelty at this point.
It is a novelty, and it was then. I remember at a store I saw, because you had to wear glasses.
Yeah.
I saw a football game, portions of a football game in 3D.
Yeah.
And it was neat because of this one thing, and I can actually see how this would be. It would almost put you there. The distance of the field was more pronounced.
Yeah.
It wasn't 2D, obviously, but, I mean, you really could tell that over there is like 50 yards away.
Okay.
From your point of view.
That's 50 yards right over there.
Yeah, I mean, well, you could tell there was depth.
But
to
does that bother you like the Oculus or the
no, I don't think
goggles?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I've never had that problem in a theater.
Okay, so you've watched like a 3D movie in a theater. Okay,
I don't know. I think it's just the motion aspect or something. That's weird. I mean, I just really do.
But usually with like the Oculus and stuff.
No, I've never had a pair of those on.
Well, I'm saying, but like you know those 3D
Yes.
Goggles, I guess
Right.
you call them, or the ones like the HTC Vive and all that.
Right.
But it's like usually the scene doesn't move unless you move. It knows if you move, so it's
Yeah.
not like it's moving and you're trying to follow it, and it like would mess up with your.
I got you. But
anyway.
I just think that I think it being so close to my eyes may be what does it. There's just a few people that it really does mess with them.
Yeah, I think
They were been working, and I think we've covered this in many episodes long ago. But they have been I know they've been working with some ideas on how to stop that.
Yeah, well, they can let you be a test person.
No, bring the trash can.
Well, they'll have it ready
Via a barf bag
Well.
next to me.
Yeah.
Nope, that one didn't work.
Well, we'll keep trying.
He's turning green. No, try another one.
Well,
That doesn't work.
first you don't succeed, try again.
But if you're a March Madness, and I do like to watch some of the games actually. I'm not one of those guys who just have to keep up with all of it. I don't watch every game. I do like to watch, maybe in the finals sometime, and a few. It depends on the team. Jack State didn't make it in this year, but they came really close to winning, or rather being able to play in the championship game of the OVC. They lost by 2 points.
Oh,
Yeah, they came up short to Murray.
Hate
And
that.
That was the semifinal. So, yeah, they
still
did.
proud of our Gamecocks.
So anyway, they may have another type tournament. It seems last year they played in a different type tournament, something they were invited to. It eludes me now, but they still could possibly be in something later on that you might hear them here and there.
Cool.
But because I was telling my wife, a couple of years ago they went to the NCAA tournament.
Yes,
I had a good bit to do with that because we had to play. We're carried on the internet here through the radio station.
Correct.
We had to play a little blip where, due to NCAA regulations, we could not play the game over our internet connection because it was
licensing.
It was licensed by Westwood One, I think was the company.
Okay.
And so
we could broadcast it
we
over
could broadcast
over the
it
air.
all we wanted to. We just couldn't put it on the internet. And so we had to set up a separate feed that only fed that in rotation just for that period of time, and then I had to remote in and cut it back over. So
Please listen to us over the air with a real radio.
Right,
91.9
sure.
FM.
We don't have to cut this off. It'll be
Not yet. We're not licensed by Westwood One
or any other Wood Ones.
No, we haven't made it big time yet.
No.
One day, never know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rush Limbaugh started out it's small fry like us.
I don't think we've ever gotten even to the small fry that he was. I think we're way, but we're not even. We don't have fries.
It has to start somewhere.
Yeah, we don't even have the cooker.
It starts
that
somewhere,
cooks the
Michael.
fries.
It starts somewhere.
We're still frozen in the fridge.
It starts somewhere.
I'm just joking.
Look at Rick Burgess and Bill Bussey. I mean, they started right here in this station.
They did. Let's see. We had talked about Tesla.
Yeah, we mentioned them.
Earlier I did, but, the thing is that newly announced base model 3 car is at $35,000, and
Right.
they say that's not going up, but their other models will. Originally they were talking about they were going to either have to go up 6%,
Yeah.
or keep the stores open. So basically what they've done, they're going to still reduce on some stores, but they're only going to increase the price by 3%.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There is a great question.
Oh.
Oh, goodness, yawning. I've started, and it's going to be bad. There is a question here, though, because the question is, really, should Tesla be able to do the online sales and have dealerships? My understanding was, and I read an article which was that regular car companies can't do that. They sell the car from the dealership. Now you could maybe get a special order, but you get that because my understanding is that the car companies don't own the dealerships.
Correct. Their distribution model is franchisor kind of thing, where you go to your local whatever brand dealership, and they're a franchise of
So
whatever motor company.
That brings up another question. With Elon's, oh shoot, I had the word. With Elon's ability to get himself in trouble, as he seems to do with financial situations, saying the wrong thing or saying things, period. The question begs me is, will that be another stone the government could throw at them if they think that they're getting a leg up in a place that others can't get a leg up in?
Well, I don't think so, and because these auto manufacturers, they had a choice, and they chose that distribution model. Like you think of the big ones, Ford, Chevy.
Yeah, but there was no such thing as online back then.
Right, you're correct. I mean,
I'm not saying they should.
But who's to say they couldn't go and like buy out these dealerships from the owners and sell them that way? I mean,
I don't. I think there are some laws, something about that's what I understood. I read an article, but I'm not sure if they were right. You never know 100% of what you read, so I take it with sometimes a grain of salt until I find out for sure. But my understanding was there was some kind of legalese thing that would prevent regular manufacturers, regular long-time car auto manufacturers from doing that.
There very well could be. I'm not expert on all.
Well,
that.
me either, but I did read, and I was going to cover.
The thing is, if Tesla was subject to those, they would have already gotten in trouble already by doing that.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know that they are. I agree with that.
Yeah.
My point is at some point will there be this thing where the government gets involved? Just like, okay, maybe not, but just like Elizabeth Warren wants to break up these other companies for a similar little thing. She thinks they're being able to do something that nobody else can.
They're too big. They're too powerful.
They're too big, too powerful, too much money. And I know a lot of people, there are people that agree with that. But the question is that a fair way to look at them in Tesla too? Maybe they've just invented something or come up with a model that no one else had done before.
The latter, I think, is more correct.
Right. And why should they be punished for that?
Right. I mean,
ingenuity was the great thing of this country.
Yes. I mean, think of this. Back before Henry Ford,
right?
He invented the assembly line for automobiles, where interchangeable parts, made the price of cars go down. That was a big deal back then.
Sure.
And this is just that next iteration of it. Now, Tesla was just up into the whole thing. And they're doing so in an environmentally friendly manner because they don't want to rely on fossil fuels for their vehicles. That's a separate aside there. I don't think it's fair to punish them for that.
Well, I don't know that they ever will. I realize some of what I'm saying is just
if that was to happen, that would just increase cost. That's all it would do.
Oh yeah, I agree.
To consumers, and that's when you've got these emerging technologies. You've already got other pressures, like we talked about in the last segment, with certain states now trying to tax electric vehicles,
right? Because
they're not subject to fuel taxes.
Correct.
So you need to cut down those barriers. Because right now, Tesla's got enough problems as it is trying to make the cars. There's still some question about range on the battery and battery technology. I've said that on the show before. Until Tesla or anybody has an electric vehicle that can get about 400-ish miles to a charge, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Now, granted, could most people get by with it? Probably. But still, there's some challenges there before you get some wide acceptance. Also, the price point. I'm glad to see that the opening price of the Model 3 is going to remain at $35,000. That's a good opening price. That's still expensive for a car when you can buy. You think of like a
like
a Ford Ford Fusion or something, a mid-sized sedan.
But now
that's it may start at like 20-something thousand. That's a big jump between that to starting at 35. But considering how much electric cars used to cost,
right?
And now they're shipping the low price point Model 3 now, from my understanding.
Right.
So anyway, I'm gonna be quiet.
No, you're not. This is not a show we be quiet on.
Yeah, that's right. It'd be boring radio.
Well, yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I just don't think that it's fair to Tesla or anybody who. Somebody else may come in and try to change, shake it up from Tesla.
Right.
That's what makes this country great. Is people come up with these ideas and different distribution models, and just trying to, figure a way to, get that business. Competition is good for business.
I saw a meme, and of course I used that loosely, and I don't know how true it is, but it showed what it claimed was a young Jeff Bezos in what looked like a garage at a desk with a printed banner that said Amazon.com. And the point was he started out there too.
Correct.
I don't know.
Look at Apple. Started out in a garage.
Right. And a lot of these companies did. Now, that's not to say everybody's idea coming out of a garage is going to work, but some do.
Facebook. Yeah. It was two college students started that in their dorm.
Yeah.
Whether you like Facebook or not, you have to look at where they started.
Yeah. And some of these things have been stolen and pulled away and all these other things over the years. There's a historical viewpoint there too. But seriously though, I do think that for sure that that individuals can make their own way if they want to. It takes a lot of hard work, and some would call it luck, maybe being in the right place at the right time, coming at the right time, like bringing your product at the right time, developing the correct product, all those things. And obviously you working hard to push it through. But, I think there's going to be in the future another Amazon. I mean, it won't be called Amazon, obviously, but there'll be something different. There's always something new. Yeah. I think the idea that, this is what we got to live with forever, well, maybe in your lifetime. But at some point, there's going to be something different.
Well, think of this. Like back in, I don't know, I can't think of the time, but it's early 20th century. Retail, full-service retail. You think of these Woolworths and the like.
Right.
Where you went into a store to buy something, it was full service. There was people to help you to the time you walked in, the time you left. And then you had some people like Sam Walton that came in and tried the idea of self-service to lower the cost.
Sure.
And that just took off. And then you had people like Sears that started mail order.
Right.
And it was crazy successful. And, look at Walmart now. I mean, they've been challenged for the last several years by Amazon.
Sure.
And like Sears.
It's basically gone.
Well, it's still around, but Sears is about gone, and others like them because they failed to adapt to e-commerce.
But they had a heyday.
They had a heyday.
At one time.
And there's all these other retailers that fall in line. Some are still not here with us, because we're in this e-commerce revolution. It started in like the late 90s, but it's just, the last, 10 years just really ramped up. And Amazon used to be, when Amazon first came out, they sold books,
You know what's funny about this?
And probably within the last, maybe 7-8 years, they've kind of started selling everything else too. I've bought several things from Amazon in the last week. I will admit.
I actually would tell you and would submit here that a lot of this has blown up since the invent of the smartphone.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
Because
and you can blame Apple and a few others for that.
I can sit here on my app and order stuff, which there's like Amazon's the only one that does that. Like
no.
Walmart has an app. Just about every retailer has an app
or an ability to buy anything off a website.
Correct.
Is what
by having web pages that are scaled down to the size of your screen.
Yeah. And so you could buy something right off of any kind of website you wanted to. Online retailing is, unless it were just to be banned, which is hilarious, because it's not going to happen. It's not going anywhere.
No,
not anytime soon. And certainly mobile has made it big business. There's no question the platform has done things for it.
I can go around with my smartphone in my home, use the camera to scan barcodes of products.
Yeah.
Put them in my cart and say, this is when I want to pick up my order, check out, and go to my nearest Walmart store and pull up to the front, basically, and they'll bring my order to me.
Well, and I'm glad we brought that up because I forgot. I think I've got to look this up in our break.
But a lot of stores are also doing that same, I think I'm not trying to say Walmart was the first doing this, order online, pick up in store, but think about other big retailers, Home Depot and Lowe's, a lot of your clothing retailers. You can order online and pick up in store.
Well, it's not the first, but it's similar to what used to be catalog. I know you mentioned that earlier, but
Right.
you ordered it through a catalog and it came to your store and you picked it up.
Correct.
It's very similar. It's just not the internet side of it.
Yes, almost
JC
and it's
Penney's.
quicker gratification because it's something the store carries. They're just going and pulling it for you ahead of time to save you time.
Right.
So you go to one central place, pick up your order, and
Unless it's Uno cards, it costs more to do that. You just go down to your store and pick them off the shelf. Sorry, but anyway.
and some other things I found too. But anyway,
Yeah.
beside the point.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that I saw where Amazon was going to close some physical stores, as I understood it.
Well,
I
some of
saw
their
something.
the Amazon Go.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a neat store.
I'll have to dig the headline out, but my understanding was, and I thought I had, I think I saw the headline, but didn't copy it into the notes and stuff, and didn't make me a memory. But now we're talking about this.
Yeah.
So in the break, we'll be right back. Well, Hey Techies Show is going to cut to a break, and we shall return as soon as possible. Hey Techies Show, be right back. Yes, sir. Hope all of you are doing well this evening. I know the Guru and I are, and it looks like we are still Bruceless.
Uh-oh.
And I'm thinking this late in the game.
Never know. Never know.
Yeah, I don't see him coming.
Don't give up hope.
I totally understand.
Don't give up hope.
I ain't seen his face.
So you found out about the Amazon
It's
store.
the pop-up stores, which I thought I was wrong. It's not the Go's, which would make a complete more sense. But it's a little pop-up.
So
it's like kiosk.
Okay, so like the little thing in the mall out in the middle.
Yes.
Okay.
Or sometimes they say they're in a Kohl's
I
store.
didn't know that.
Or grocery.
I can't tell you the last time
or
I've been to
grocery
Kohl's,
store.
but-
Well, I haven't seen one. But basically, they sell their products. Like, they have the Fire tablets, the Echo speakers.
Oh, Elizabeth Warren ain't gonna like that.
Well, they're going to close them, so
Yeah.
she can like it.
Okay, yeah,
But-
okay. They're getting ready for that.
They
so.
say
I don't know.
they have in more than 20 states.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they shouldn't sell
I
their.
bet you they
shouldn't create their own product. and
probably
sell
for
it.
the rent they're having to pay and the labor payroll. It's probably just not worth it. I mean, and that's more of a. I wonder if that was a thing they had during the holidays. And they were trying to expand that test, and then they decided to close. I can see during the holiday season they could be worth it
Yeah.
than during the non-holidays.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
And we talked about the Amazon Go, and that is, Guru is completely correct. In Philadelphia, they have banned stores from refusing to accept cash. And, of course, that is going to be a real problem for the Amazon
Amazon
and
Amazon
Amazon store and Amazon Go store,
Yeah, so what
which
this
is cashless.
So this was from Breitbart, a story that came out.
I have one from Business Insider
This
as
is-
well.
I've got one here today from Breitbart. It says Philadelphia has reportedly become the first city in the United States to ban cashless stores and restaurants in an attempt to be more inclusive to Americans without bank accounts. So according to the Daily Mail, cashless stores and restaurants have faced criticism because, quote, many believe the policy actually discriminates against those without bank accounts or credit cards, end quote. And now cashless companies could face fines in Philadelphia.
Well, what about a company that doesn't accept credit cards or cards at all? I mean, you could do the reverse of that. I mean, my point is, where will this end? I mean, we're forcing entities.
I know.
They're not of the state. They're their own. They're an independent company.
I know.
I know you know.
But reading on here, Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney signed a motion last week banning stores in the city from enacting a cashless service. As of July 1, any business failing to comply with the law will face fines up to $2,000.
A year?
And the Daily Mail also reported that parking lots, garages, and businesses who sell goods through a membership model, such as gyms and internet transactions, are exempt from this ban. So I wonder if they'll get around that.
Oh, what?
Okay, let me read that again.
I heard the thing, but
The Daily Mail reported, adding that parking lots, garages, and businesses who sell goods through a membership model, such as gyms, and internet transactions are exempt. Okay, so membership model. So, like, if you're a member of a gym,
yeah, right,
and they can do cashless
right,
because you're a member,
right.
or
They can force cashless.
they can be cashless and still be legal because you're a member of that thing.
I guess. What about subway system?
That's a good point.
Most of them cashless.
I
mean, I don't know.
Well, let me think.
Don't you have to buy a token or have a card or some type?
But
Usually,
there's a machine, and I've been to Philadelphia. I can't remember, but I know in New York, but probably the same in Philadelphia. You had a card,
yeah.
and there was like a gate. They have to have the card with value on it, but you had to go to a machine and
You could put
load-
cash in a machine.
you could load value. I think it took card or cash.
Okay.
I know in New York they do take cash and
Well, that
card.
makes sense, and I figured that was the case.
Yeah. So I think they're fine, but like you're saying, Amazon Go. If we talked about that on the show last summer when I actually got to try out an Amazon Go store in Seattle. Basically you download the Amazon Go app, you sign in with your Amazon account, and you tie a form of payment to that account. You walk in the store with your app, you scan the barcode on your screen. It lets you in the store, and the technology keeps up with what you're taking off the shelf, and then when you walk out, it charges your card, but there's no cashier. There's no way to
I just don't
pay.
think. How would they do that? They're going to make them have to change their entire.
It won't. That model will not
The
work.
model won't work.
It won't work in Philadelphia.
Sounds like maybe
with the current, unless you become a member of Amazon Go, $1 a year.
Wait a minute now. We've slipped. We have missed something here.
Uh-oh. What's that?
I think that this is aimed at Amazon. Just stick with me.
Okay, go
What
ahead.
other big areas up there have decided to give Amazon the
New York,
the nose,
and Northern Virginia,
the finger,
and Northern Virginia, outside the D.C. Beltway.
They're afraid of what Amazon's going to bring. They're afraid they'll change this. They're afraid they'll change that. This, to me, sounds a lot like a way to fight Amazon without really having to pass legislation. I mean, because this is a city basically doing that. I mean, they just have to have a town council to vote and a mayor to sign it.
And it's unconstitutional, I believe, to target an individual company.
Well, they won't put it that way, but
I mean, you can't word it that way. But doing this,
well, no, but it's pretty
has
clear.
that effect.
Oh,
And any, but then if you have the corner,
it's very clear.
If you have there's some restaurants though in Philadelphia
Yes.
that are reported they've gone cashless.
Yes, I had those.
So that's
right
part of
here
it
in this story.
And I get the
Sweet
fact,
Green is one of them.
and I get the fact that they're trying to prevent people who don't have bank accounts or access to bank accounts, but.
But okay,
I see it, but I don't see it because a lot of employers now require either direct deposit
Correct, yes.
or if you don't have a bank account, they'll load your earnings on like a reloadable, like a debit card, basically.
But you could look at it this way too. It's not like this is the only store. There's another store you could go buy products at. You
That's
don't
true.
have to go
That's
to
true.
Amazon Go.
That's true.
I mean, the other places
Go to 7-Eleven or
right.
whatever.
I'm sure there's plenty of stores in that area. Now, as I said, this is a theory that I have. I'm not saying I don't have any proof that I'm right. I'm just curious about this. This looks like to me a possibility that this is written against Amazon, intended to not look like that. To have cover.
It has the perception.
The perception of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may be onto something there, Michael.
I don't know. We'll see. And this little ditty, Mike Pompeo, he denied, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this, the U.S.'s role, which it didn't have. I hate this headline. In the Venezuela power outage scandal, I guess is going on.
Scandal?
I guess. They've had bad power outage down there. They've been really massive. I mean, the grid's been down. And, of course, we were the first ones to blame. Now, Pompeo, according to this article in the Washington Times, says that I had it right here. He has according to this, pushback at Trump's administration. Critics who claim the U.S. is engaged in a covert and overt subversion campaign to try to oust Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Now, and of course, Maduro thinks that we have carried out the power outage. And I'm guessing he has proof of this. But my guess is he doesn't. And from my understanding, Pompeo basically told him, hey, there's a lot of other countries that would be more interested in doing that than us. I mean, that's just I'm paraphrasing. You need to consider all the possibilities here. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. I had seen a headline, and I really hadn't paid much attention to this, to be honest with you, and hadn't read a lot about it. But that was weird.
Oh, was that you?
It's like a echo or something.
It's Bruce, maybe.
No, it's not. Yes, the echo of Bruce. So we'll see, but this, as usual, the U.S. is blamed for something that they don't have proof we did. But hey, who knows?
Let me tell you about this real quick. We got about 3.5 minutes, so kind of goes back to if that saying about if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, but that's kind of not that's tongue in cheek sort of. So headline from Ars Technica: as anti-vax movement, as in vaccine movement, gets weirder and dumber, Facebook announces crackdown. So facing scrutiny and allowing anti-vaccine lies and conspiracy theories to fester and spread on its pages, Facebook announced on Thursday a set of steps it will take to rid its platform of misinformation, which has seemingly become even weirder and more idiotic recently. I'm reading straight from Ars Technica here. So the move follows a letter sent to Facebook from Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat from California, last month, raising concerns that the anti-vaccine information spread on the site could corrupt anxious parents' views of safe, life-saving immunizations. Schiff also questioned the popular social media site about accepting payments from anti-vaccine advertisements. Facebook wasn't the only media giant questioned. Schiff sent a similar to Google as well, raising concerns about content on YouTube specifically. Still, Facebook has taken center stage on the issue. So,
what? I mean, you have to read the whole thing, but I don't get it.
So there's a bunch of stuff floating around the internet, Facebook in particular, and YouTube apparently was targeted, or not targeted, but questioned by Adam Schiff. These people
Adam Schiff
spreading misinformation as he calls it about these anti-vaccine. I'm not trying to take sides on the vaccine movement. I just know there's apparently some misinformation that's coming out, and it's, of course, people, they see it on Facebook, they share it, and they share it, and just kind of goes viral.
Yeah,
no pun intended, I guess, viral.
And there,
but so Facebook is apparently cracking down on these anti-vax pages.
Interesting.
So, my personal PSA here is get your vaccines. I think they're okay. But I'm not a doctor, so I would consult with a medical professional.
Well, that's true for everything.
Yeah. It's like it would be a good idea to probably go Google your symptoms to try to determine what you're suffering from.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth of advice there. You can keep the change.
Sure. We're going to keep the change.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we have our
dose
coming up just shortly.
Yeah, maybe Bruce will show up here in a few minutes.
Is he out there?
I don't see him.
Okay,
I
then
can't.
He's not going to be here. Nope, don't think he's here. I think we're Bruceless tonight. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. We will press on without him.
Pressing on. Yeah, we've been doing that already. So
yeah, I think we've had this hour's gone by very, very quickly.
It has.
But we've got a lot more to talk about. We got several rumors coming up in the second hour
segment. So
I mean,
we'll be able to expand there. Don't go away.
Yeah,
never go away. But anyway.
Never. No.
You might miss something.
Yes, you will. The best part of the show is the second hour.
That's right. Hour 2.
Coming up next, right after this.
Be right back.
And the Ad Council.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. The White House says President Trump is committed to getting a trade deal with China that is both fair and enforceable. NPR's Scott Horsley reports Trump is hoping to finalize such an agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Trump has said he expects to meet with his Chinese counterpart as early as this month, possibly at the president's Florida vacation home. But during a now rare White House news briefing, spokeswoman Sarah Sanders said the date for such a summit has not been set.
Not yet. We're continuing in negotiations with China. When we have an announcement for the two leaders to sit down, we'll certainly let you know.
Trump came away empty-handed after another high-stakes summit last month with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Sanders says in talks with both Beijing and Pyongyang, the president's willing to hold out for a deal he believes is in the best interest of the U.S. Scott Horsley, NPR News, the White House.
The Pentagon confirms it is moving ahead on developing and manufacturing a ground-launched cruise missile that's been banned for more than 3 decades by an arms pact with Russia. As NPR's David Welnick explains, both the U.S. and Russia announced last month they're abandoning the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty.
The Pentagon says the Department of Defense will begin fabricating components to support testing of the previously banned cruise missile, but that this will be for a conventional rather than a nuclear weapon. Separately, U.S. Undersecretary of State for Arms Control Andrea Thompson tells a conference in Washington this is due to the U.S. moving out of the INF treaty.
The Department of Defense can start those research and development actions that they haven't done at all because they were treaty compliant. So DoD is looking at that for next steps, the R&D, what does it mean, the fielding of systems, and so they've just now commenced that.
The Pentagon says the missile development is reversible should Russia comply with the INF treaty by early August. David Wallner, NPR News, Washington.
The head of the House Rules Committee says a resolution under consideration would state the desire of Congress to make public the findings of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Massachusetts Democrat Jim McGovern saying today the public should know what was uncovered in the probe.
As we kick off Sunshine Week today, the committee is considering HCON Res 24. This resolution makes clear that Congress believes the American people should have access to the final report. The American people do not want it to be stashed away or hidden somewhere.
However, the ranking Republican on the committee, Tom Cole of Oklahoma, had a different view. He said while calling for release of as much of the report as practical, some of the request amounts to little more than theatrics on the part of Democrats, according to him. While U.S. retailers had a bit more to be cheerful about in January after a major unexpected drop in December, the numbers out today appear consistent with a slowing U.S. economy. Commerce Department reported today retail sales in January were up 0.2%. In December, retail sales showed a 1.6% drop. Stocks starting the week higher. The Dow was up 200 points today. You're listening to NPR.
Welcome back into our
Nose.
Hey, there
Who's
he
that?
is.
That's Bruce.
That's
Yeah,
the voice
I
of
made it.
Bruce.
Just barely.
Just barely. Hey,
I was waiting for the missus to come in from her meeting, and what were we watching? Harvey and I were watching because she went ahead.
We were watching the Hey Techies show.
Yeah, live, and I fell asleep.
right? Yeah, there you go.
I did. I fell asleep, and she comes in. I was like, "Oh gosh, yeah. Hey, what's up?"
I got to go do this thing called radio. We're glad you could make it, Bruce.
I'm glad I made it.
Michael was very pessimistic on your appearance.
I figured.
Well, it was getting late in the show. I was thinking, well, why even come at this point?
But I was very optimistic.
Good.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's yin and yang in this studio.
Yeah. It's just being realistic.
Well, you were wrong.
Yeah,
it's about bad fake news.
Yeah.
I'll spare you the soundbite from President Trump. You're welcome. So what you been doing, Bruce?
Well, besides taking a nap.
Well, I mean,
which I really didn't get one in because I couldn't fall asleep. I was afraid that I was not gonna make it. Yeah. She said she didn't know how long it was gonna be, and I was just sitting there hoping, wishing.
Sit there like
waiting.
On ready, set, go.
Yeah, ready, set, go. But I was trying to catch up with my stories. I had pulled up earlier in the day and had not gotten a full chance to go over them. But I knew of. Actually, before I start with this one,
well, let's do the headlines real quick.
Oh yeah, do that. That's right. Sorry, I'm just ready to go.
Well,
that'd be fun.
Let me start this time, Michael, if you don't mind. So,
absolutely.
As we talked about last week on the show, the SpaceX DM-1 mission successfully launched a Crew Dragon spacecraft to International Space Station. Well, the greatest test of this mission occurred on Friday. The Crew Dragon spacecraft undocked from the International Space Station to begin its journey back to Earth, enduring temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun during re-entry. SpaceX Crew Dragon made a successful splashdown in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Florida, right on schedule Friday morning. The next test for the Crew Dragon will be an in-flight abort test scheduled for June. And the last thing I've got here, Senator Elizabeth Warren is proposing to break up large tech companies like Amazon, Google, and Facebook. Her plan would classify platforms that make more than $25 billion a year in revenue as a platform utility and prohibit these companies from using those platforms to sell their own products. Quit shaking your head, Michael. It's distracting. This would mean that Amazon could not sell Amazon Basics products, and Google could not promote their products in search results. Warren's recent post to Medium with her plan did not mention Apple, which would meet the criteria as a platform utility. When The Verge asked Warren about Apple, she responded that Apple should be broken up. She went on to say that it should not get to run the App Store and distribute apps in it. Warren went on to tell The Verge, quote, "It's not to be one or the other. Either they run the platform or they play in the store. They don't get to do both at the same time," end quote. Warren's plan also would require Facebook to spin off their acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. You okay over there, Michael?
Yeah. Sorry.
It takes a lot to hold in that shaking your head at while I'm reading these headlines, don't it?
Sorry.
So what you got, Michael?
Not anything as good as you. But anyway, Tesla, electric car maker Tesla reports in a blog post the company will raise prices by 3% on all but one model car, the base Model 3. This comes as they reversed an earlier decision to close almost all of their walk-up traffic stores. As a result, only a small number of stores will close. Tesla will still be an online ordering car dealership, as visitors to their stores will be directed to the website for ordering. TrackMan, a computer that uses Doppler radar, will inform umps of the balls and strikes through an earpiece. The new computerized system will go live April 25th in the Atlantic League. That's a minor league. I think they have about 8 teams in there. During testing, some umpires say it's far from perfect.
I want to know what Doppler radar. They use out the Super Doppler Woppler.
They do.
1000.
The 9000.
It's a Viper 9000.
Viper 9001.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
V2.
No. Yes, you're right.
It's fancy.
It's the V2. You remember when he asked Span that, and that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Span's like, that's just marketing. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean a thing. Yeah, I know what you and I and we expand a little bit on this Elizabeth Warren thing, but I
haven't gone through all that because I do want to see what she has to say, but I feel like we have other companies to start with to break it up if we're going to do that. I think
this is a terrible idea to come at a company based on them selling their own product. I mean, that opens the ball game for a lot of things. That's crazy. It's crazy talk. This country is based on people creating their own product.
I'm sure those exact same things were said in the 80s when they broke up the telecoms. That they said that was crazy. Or even, 100 years ago when they broke up Standard Oil.
Yeah, well, I get what you're saying, but I still think it's crazy.
I haven't read through it, so I don't have a verdict yet.
No, okay. I know, but I don't believe her. So,
well, whenever I
already have a litmus test against her.
I'll say whenever I saw the headline, my immediate thought was, well, I could think of other companies we need to do first, but I'm interested.
I'm sure.
Well,
that's fine.
Well, let me ask you this. We also talk about this hour one, first hour. So, state of Alabama, they have the gas tax proposal going through special session right now. In addition to taxing fuel more, they're adding like a $13 fee to passenger vehicles, $7 fee to motorcycles. But plug-in hybrids have an additional $100 tax, or whatever you want to call it.
Is it an additional $100 or just $100?
It's additional $100.
Okay.
And electric vehicles, that's plug-in hybrids. $100.
Yeah.
electric vehicles have a $200 tax. So what's your thoughts on that? We talked about that in the first hour.
Well,
but
I will say we have pretty crappy roads. If they will actually use the money for what it's supposed to be, if all things work how they're supposed to, and the money actually goes for what it's earmarked for, and they do a good job of it, rather than just, sometimes they just throw down asphalt and it's super loose, and they say, well, it's done, good enough.
Lowest bidder.
I want actual good roads. Like, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, electric cars use the road, and they're not paying that tax in the gas.
Do you think it's stifling the acceptance of electric vehicles?
No, because I guarantee you it'd cost you more than $200 a year in taxes of gas that you would the offset. And I may almost be saying is $200 enough.
Oh. I think it's stifling the acceptance.
Well, now you are paying a different kind of tax on it, the electricity tax, like your utility tax.
Yeah, but so in the state of Alabama, if we're just talking about the state of Alabama Power. Now, not everybody's an Alabama Power customer, so you'd have to check with whatever your provider
right,
is.
I understand that.
But they actually have an incentive that if you have an electric vehicle, you can sign up and get a cheaper rate from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So if you work a normal, 9 to 5 job anyway, and you already have things scheduled in your house to turn off or be more efficient while you're gone, I think you would see, the time that you are home and that you would be running your heater, air conditioner at night, while you're at home, it would be cheaper anyway.
Well, I could get that today even without an electric vehicle. They have that option where
they have a lot of different rate plans.
But my understanding, once you switch to it, you can't switch back.
Oh, no, you can switch back.
And they won't tell you, they won't even give you an estimate. Because I looked at this a couple years ago when they first started offering this, when they upgraded their infrastructure in terms of how they can read your meter remotely.
Yeah.
I asked, I was interested about these different rate plans, about these off-peak and all that.
Yeah.
But can you give me an estimate of what I would be paying based on my last 12 months of usage? And they said, we can't do that.
When was that?
This was a year or so ago, I guess. When that stuff, maybe more than a year ago.
I know now I think you have to pay a fee, but they'll have a consultant come out to your house and actually, or your place of business, and they'll go over everything with you and one, look at ways to save you energy, and two, give you what would be the best option.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, if you were saying, well, I only plan on, it's just like for my pool pump, I have swapped it from running where the previous owner had it running from 8 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. That's during peak usage.
Yeah.
And that's when energy costs the most. It costs them more to produce it because they're having to produce it, over more plants that cost different costs to operate, different fuels, different costs. So I've changed it to where it's at night now. Since the plan I'm on is just budget billing, where you have the same.
Right.
It doesn't cost me any more or any less. Like I'm not saving me money.
Right.
So
I'm not on budget billing.
Yeah. But if I did, I could swap to where if I felt like, hey, all my energy usage is after 5 p.m., then it would be beneficial.
Yeah, because they'll charge you a different rate.
They do.
And I mean, it makes sense from the utility company because there's less load on the system than during the day.
Yeah. Especially
like in the summer when there's peak heating.
Oh, yeah.
Or peak heat, which requires more load for cooling.
Yeah, and for our listeners that are in different areas, it just depends on who your local energy provider is, what kind of plans they have. They may or may not have that, so it's definitely worth calling and asking.
Yeah,
and you may not get somebody that's knowledgeable about what all they have to offer. But it's I know TVA they'll even send somebody out to your house and they'll do a heat map of your house. They'll use I'm pretty sure Alabama Power offers it too. They'll use a thermal camera and see where you have air leaks, through your windows or doors or just bad insulation. And they can suggest repairs that need to be done in order to save you some energy.
Sure.
So
Very,
wow.
very
Rambled
cool.
on into the break.
That's very cool.
Bruce is back, baby. And I didn't even get to my story.
Oh, we'll get it when we get back. Hey, Techies Show.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show. So what I was going to try and get to very quickly, and I would say for the most part, if you are a Chrome user, it is already updated. Windows has probably already forced you to restart your computer for some other non-related reason.
Yeah.
Just because.
You're right.
But if you are a person that even outside of a Windows user that uses Chrome and constantly just leaves the browser up and never really closes it, there is a 0-day that came out, I guess, after our last show.
Correct.
So if you have it, go check, and this includes Android users too. If you're Android version 72.0.3626.121 or better is where you want to be.
Okay, come again with that?
Yeah. So 72.
Okay.
.0.
Mm-hmm.
.3626.
Uh-huh.
.121.
You're talking about Chrome.
So you need to be at that level
Chrome,
or higher.
Yeah.
The Chrome browser.
Chrome browser.
Yeah.
Chrome OS version 72.0.3626.122. And for everybody else, Linux, Macs, and Windows, 72.0.3626.121. So they're all about the same version. So that Chrome OS is a little bit different. But it's already being exploited. Like the day it was released, I guess it was actually being exploited before. That's kind of how they found out about it being a 0-day vulnerability. And it affects I think it was like the file reader API is what it was using. So definitely go out. And I want to say this, I was very proud of my mother. She called me the day, the minute this came out and said, "Hey, what do I need to do to update Chrome? And like, to me, that says a lot, right? You know, that people that are not tech savvy at all are now aware of this. Because she was like, well, what do I need to do? So, you know, I kind of walked her through it. Didn't have to remote in or anything. And, you know, I said, yours stays updated. So, you know, you're good. So I was very proud of her at that moment. I think it was like I was running and in the middle of doing something, so I didn't get to tell her that. But she will definitely find out. But I thought it was I think that's very important to point out.
So everybody can rest. I have the latest version.
Yeah, it's the latest version.
Yay.
And I just updated this, as a matter of fact. I have the latest version here.
Awesome.
So we're good here.
Which I will say this. Y'all know the I think I'll save it.
No, we're saving
I think I'll save it.
Okay.
I don't even know if I want to. I may want to save it for y'all too. Not even tell y'all. Just show up one day and announce it.
Huh. Okay.
No, I'll definitely tell you. I can't keep a secret.
Yeah, he's going to have a new phone. That's what it is.
Maybe.
No.
But it's dependent on something.
It's dependent on something. And a new provider as well.
Yeah, still haven't decided.
Big Red,
I think
Blue.
I've decided. I think I have decided.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Big Blue.
Not a shock.
Why is that not a shock? I used to be a Big Red customer for years.
I know. It's
of course,
just,
before
what I'm
them,
saying is it's not a shock.
I don't think
it's not a shock
their
that you're
coverage is
flipping.
as superior as
Who? Big Blue?
Yeah.
Is not as superior as Big Red.
Yes.
I don't know.
But depends on where you go. Now, there's areas where I
Well,
go where it's not as good, and it depends on your travel habits.
Yeah.
You know, and if you
Mine are unpredictable.
well,
that is a good
that may be that may be a,
Mine are unpredictable.
that could be an issue. Then we'll.
But I don't know. We'll see. I have not decided 100%. I'm leaning more that way because of value of what you get for the money.
Right.
But I will buy whatever I get. It will be completely unlocked. So if that service stinks, I can say "Sarnar suckers" and go somewhere else. Knew I should have never trusted you, and go the other person I should have never trusted.
I knew that was coming. Too. I was waiting for it.
So there has been there's been another insecure database leak that of over 8. Have you already covered this?
Nope.
No.
Sweet.
We save all security stuff.
800 million records in a MongoDB database.
So
140 plus gigs of unprotected data.
Now, is this in the Congo?
No.
Well, it's a Mongo. DB. I just thought maybe it was in the Congo.
It's just a application name.
Yeah, no, I've heard of it.
So,
is this open source product?
Yeah, MongoDB is open source.
But I have listeners that might not know that.
Oh,
I'm just trying to educate.
I swear we've talked about MongoDB before.
Well, that's not fair. That you think they might know it all. Remember
well,
the last time we talked?
Listen to us.
Sure, right.
Which I will say this. Granted, I'm all for using open source because, you have a community that can validate and check and
that can, yes.
Yeah, can. Yeah. Not necessarily that they do. Very good point. That can. But it seems like Mongo's had a lot of issues over the past year. A lot of just insecure.
I hadn't really
and
been
it's not really
following it.
Configurations. It's inherently. So anytime I'm at work and somebody says something about, we're going to do this, we're going to spin up a Mongo, I'm like, whoa, time out.
They only serve Mongolian beef at their restaurant.
Oh, really?
At the Mongo
I did not know
headquarters.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyways,
sometimes it's chicken.
But if you're a big business, I mean, anyway.
When they I'm
gonna stop.
It depends on what it is. If you need something to be
you.
a little more agile, you may use that.
Yeah.
For testing, and then roll it up into it, and then boom, you've got this thing that you need, and it's done.
So if you're wanting to be more agile, huh? Like agile development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That works out well.
So,
depends on how well you implement it.
That is true.
Yeah.
And some are better than others.
No.
I will leave it at that.
And the thing about this is the researcher that found it has verified. The researcher, Bob Dushenko, he compromised 4 separate collection of records, the biggest one being named, this is the email of the database, is that Ludens? What are those called? Oh,
I have Ricola.
Ricola. They're almost like candy.
I hate putting this in here and trying to talk. That's why I was trying to get by without doing it.
Gotcha. Ah, sweet.
You're welcome.
Ludens.
Brought to you this hour brought to you by Cough Drops. Not saying which
Cough
brand.
We have no sponsors.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, we don't have sponsors, but
it's being
they're
brought
not-
to you by your favorite cough drop.
They're not being brought to you by your Cough Drop. How about
Well,
that?
we don't know which one it is.
Well,
whoever's it is. We're not promoting one over the other.
that is true.
We're just saying whatever you like, that's who's bringing it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Sure.
so the database name that had the largest set of folders was mail email database. So that
Oh,
can kind of tell you what's
hey.
in it is
Yeah.
their mailing address and email.
No, that's always great.
Yeah. So, spam away.
Yeah, that's right.
Paper and digital.
Give you some sort of like 7-character cryptic
Yeah.
naming
Which
convention.
in this article,
Yeah.
Something I know I'm familiar with. Anyway, go ahead.
this
7
article on
characters.
Bleeping Computer, I had read this previously through something else that I was reading.
By the way, that's code for me to go get the link. That's
Yeah.
what that meant.
Got them trained well.
Okay.
So they don't. I don't think they actually spell out who the company was unless they're just planning on this screenshot from Verifications IO LLC being the. But I think they were kind of like a advertising aggregator, maybe is kind of what business they were in.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what I'd understood. But they just had no protections on the data that they had, and they kind of give an interesting tidbit at the end. They said the number of data breaches saw a 424% increase in 2018.
Wow.
And I don't think it's going to slow down, because I'll say personally, I wouldn't call myself a researcher. I would say I'm a practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
But I go out and research things, and I find vulnerabilities all over the place. And now I agree with the responsible disclosure of bugs, of breaches, britches.
Yeah.
But I am just too, I guess afraid is the best word, that you're going to go, no good deed goes unpunished. I could be 100% just being a good person, saying, hey, I've discovered this. I want to responsibly disclose this to you. Please do something about this. And they come after you for being responsible, for being a good person, being a good citizen.
Kind of goes like whistleblower laws, in a sense.
Yeah, but they will come after you. And so, if I'm gonna do it, I'm really trying to lay a foundation so I can do everything as anonymously as possible, but also give them the confidence that, other than my word, that data has not been stored elsewhere, that whenever I send them, so if I get a full database dump like this, I will say, here's your memory card. This is the only place it lived with me. Not to say so other people haven't accessed this, but if you can verify I'm the only person that has obtained this data through your logs, which you're probably not keeping if I could get to this in the first place. But maybe it was just a misconfiguration and they've got everything else all on the up and up, that they can say that, a researcher found it, responsibly disclosed it, and the only copy of that exfiltrated data is now in their hands and has been destroyed. That would be my, that's how I would like to picture everything going. But, that's usually not how things go. So, not decided to venture into that yet, but I'm laying a foundation. So if I ever decide to, and I come across something, because if I were to come across something big like this, like, I'm not looking for fame. I'm just looking for people to fix their crap.
Sure.
And keep us all safe.
Right.
For data they probably shouldn't have had to begin with. No Apple rumors tonight, by the way.
Oh, right. You sent one to us.
I did.
Speaking of,
I read through half of it, and I said, Guru's probably got this. I'll send it to him.
I don't know if he had. I don't think he had this one from Business Insider.
No, I did not have this
about the. Let's see.
Well, I figure somebody else covered it.
Headline: Apple is expecting to launch 3 new iPhones this year. Here's everything we know so far. But I don't know if we know everything.
Here's what we know, but we don't know
so far.
Let's see. So this is the first time I'm seeing this. I mean, I saw it come through, but I haven't had a chance to really review it.
So I will say one of the things they say is, one thing they talk about is that the iPhone will be able to charge other devices, is what they're speculating.
So it's like a little battery tank.
Speaking of that, I'll let you finish, but real quick, have you seen, and we don't like this product, I know, but have you seen the Samsung 10 ads?
No, I haven't. I wouldn't say we don't like the product. We're skeptical. We would like to see it. We just don't see how we would like it.
No,
we're not saying we don't like it.
We don't like the interface. I think we've said that multiple times. It just seems backwards.
I'm not a Sam.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, for some people it works.
No, I know. But what I did see, and you just sparked something. It looked to me they took 2 phones and held them back to back, and one could charge the other, or transmit that. And maybe I misunderstood it was quick, but I thought that's what they showed.
Surely it's on YouTube. We can watch this.
Yeah, we probably could. Well, anyway, you were talking.
So one phone can charge another.
Yeah. Well, you know,
by cable.
No, wirelessly.
Well, that's what I think this was doing.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be using the Qi charging.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. And what I'm assuming Apple's intention is for this is that you can take your watch off and put it on your phone.
Yeah, that you could charge your watch from your phone.
They're not really planning on you saying, "Here, friend,
but charging your Apple
Watch."
We're
both down to 10%.
Let's both go to 5.
Yeah, we're both at 10. I'm going to go to 5.
I'll give you 5 of my 10. Yeah. No, but Apple Watch to charge it from your iPhone, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. So I could see how they're going to do that. They've also talked about a frosted glass backing.
Oh, frosted glass.
Yeah. They're talking about using 3 cameras in the back.
I've heard that rumor.
I think we've mentioned that before.
Eventually, it'll just be a bug eye. I don't know. They have also talked about better forward-facing camera for FaceTime.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
that's typical, iterations.
The one thing that has been rumored, and I just wish they would just hurry up and freaking do it. USB-C.
I don't think they're ready to pull the trigger on that.
No,
yet.
I'm going with no.
One thing this article does say is the same screen size we have currently, but possibly OLED displays for all 3 models.
Okay.
The 10R currently does not have OLED, but the
I could see
10S, 10S Max.
I could see how they would do it just to save on production. Of course, they're not the one producing them.
I hate to wreck this, but I've got to, because we'll forget and won't do this. What would be the advantage for Apple to do that, to USB-C? And the reason I'm saying this, the Lightning connector already is, no matter which way you turn it, you can stick it in. So,
correct.
So you can't consider that.
For me,
I'm saying for Apple, I'm not saying for you.
You sure?
I just don't see it.
I think
so. So the argument of more standards compliant is not applicable here.
When have they ever?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Cared about that?
That's what I'm saying.
I think. Well, they would keep up with whatever the current standard is, as far as data transfer rate would be faster.
Well, no, that's fair enough. I can see.
But at some point,
I
would chalk that up to corporate responsibility.
But actually, they don't care anything about that port as far as data. They don't want you to. They want everything in the cloud. They want you to.
That's
true.
true.
They don't care about that. I mean, they don't. I don't even think backup as much cared about that.
Probably not. But I will say you could probably get faster charging. That is totally speculation.
Yeah.
I have no data to back that up, but I would assume that.
But it
you
sounds
can
like to
charge
me that
faster.
they're wanting to push them. And you know how they do these. They want to push everybody to wireless charging.
And get
I mean,
rid
they
of
would
port altogether.
right. I mean, well, that's
Maybe.
where they're thinking about going with it anyway, is to get rid of that port altogether. I mean, I can see that happening. Now, I don't know when it would happen. That's a real rumor there. I think at some point, Apple.
If they did that, now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, they're not that brave. I just don't. Anyway, go ahead with more rumors. Just a side note. I just thought that we should stick that in there.
If they're going to do it, I wish they would do it because it would. To me, I know you said Apple's. What is the advantages to get them? But I think for the consumer, I would say, well, sure, no, it would give them because their chargers for their MacBooks are using C now, right?
They are.
Yes.
And I mean that is a theory too, but there's got to be some. I just don't know other than the form factor. Maybe they don't think they can fit it in there for some reason.
Well, no, never mind. I was about to say something really stupid.
with how thin it is, but I think Lightning's a little bit thinner.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's thinner.
Well, see, that's a thing for Mac. I mean, they pride themselves with the thinnest and smallest.
The thinnest one.
Be careful; it'll cut you if you get too close to it on the sides.
Well, I will say that
it's so thin.
The
it'll dice a lemon.
The male adapter part is thinner, but the footprint of the female is exactly the same.
Here, hold, there's mine. Anyway.
It's pretty darn close. I'll have to agree with you on that. I'll go with you on that. Yeah,
Okay.
you're probably right.
So moving on with the rumors. We got about 6 minutes till the break. So our favorite Ming Chi Kuo, analyst or whatever he is, his report. Apple's
our favorite of whatever he is.
I don't really know him.
That just kind of came out. Apple's AR glasses to launch in 2020 as an iPhone accessory. According to Kuo, Apple's AR glasses will be marketed as an iPhone accessory and primarily take a display role while wirelessly offloading computing, networking, and positioning to the phone. Designing AR glasses as an augmented reality to work as an iPhone accessory is also expected to allow Apple to keep the glasses slim and lightweight rather than trying to pack all the processing hardware into one device.
Still think it's just a gimmick.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
I just think it's gimmicky.
So I just know I wish a helmet company would come out with a like motorcycle helmets or even car helmets, whatever, race cars, a full AR and communicator headset all built into the helmet.
I can understand that, but that's still not
that will communicate with others. It's so stupid. They are so behind the times. Like it's
that I agree with.
Yeah. So
ridiculous.
Anyway. So next rumor: Apple Watch bands begin selling out ahead of probable spring 2019 refresh.
They're selling out.
So there's several models of
really
Apple Watch bands: the 40 and 40 millimeter sport bands in hibiscus, mellow yellow, and Pacific green, plus the 40 millimeter in blue horizon.
Hibiscus,
that's right. 40 and 44 millimeter.
Is that red, like a reddish color?
I guess, I don't know. Google hibiscus.
Hibiscus, I think.
40 and 44 millimeter
and
Nike sport bands in olive flak, black, and smoky mauve / particle beige.
Oh, good grief!
40 millimeter sport loops in Cape Cod blue and nectarine. Anyway, I'll spare you the rest of the list. But there's several bands that are
pinkish,
sold out. So this makes people read between the tea leaves like, oh, they're gonna have new bands at this March event coming up on the 25th. So you got that.
Will they come out with a new watch in when? October?
Well,
there's an
event on the
March
25th
that we don't know what they're going to bring out.
That could be part of it. So
no, they're not going to come out with a new watch already.
New watch bands.
Okay, but what about the watch?
That'll be this fall. They just came out with new watches.
Now
back
they have done something crazy and have released things early before. Yeah. It's rare.
Yeah,
it probably won't happen.
So next one.
Of course, Mr. Apple said they were going to have products that the investors would not be believe.
Yeah, that's true. That was
Mr. Apple himself.
Mr. Apple
That is
himself.
true. That is true.
Tim Apple.
Tim
he
Apple.
did say that.
So Apple's next iPad will reportedly keep Touch ID and a headphone jack.
Say that again?
Apple's next iPad will reportedly keep Touch ID and a headphone jack. So, a new report from
ridiculous.
Mako Takara via Apple Insider says that Apple isn't likely to change up its next iPad, noting that it will likely keep the same enclosure and retain Touch ID and a headphone jack. So there's that rumor, and the last one here: reports claim that Apple could begin production of an iPhone-powered AR glasses this year. It kind of ties back to the first one I talked about. So Apple could begin production of long-rumored augmented reality glasses as early as end of this year.
I don't understand that. They're already promoting this type of thing with their iPads.
Yeah, but this is kind of that next kind of part of it, the next chapter. They have the AR kit,
Oh, yeah, I
part of their,
that.
software development
Correct,
kit.
yeah.
That was back in 2017.
Right. And almost at every one of these events,
Right, but
they show something new.
You hold your device
Correct,
up,
right.
but they've yet to have built any dedicated augmented reality hardware yet.
I know.
So, I mean, it's plausible.
Oh, yeah. I don't disagree with you.
Is it coming out? Is it coming out in March? Highly unlikely. Is it coming out this fall? There's a higher likelihood. We'll see as the time rolls on.
Right. Just seems gimmicky to me still. I just don't. Apple just doesn't do.
But this article from The Verge, says, talks about, there's no secret that iPhone sales have slowed down in recent years. We've talked about it on the show before.
A lot of reasons for that.
But an AR headset could be a useful accessory for Apple in the future in terms of trying to generate a new revenue stream. And you can't. I mean, that's valid, defense. I guess for this rumor.
I've got to look into that. I want to know what the entire sales market for AR goggles are.
Well, Apple may create a new segment. I mean,
it cannot be that high.
They made smartphones the thing now. I mean, think about it. Apple gotta have. I mean, look at this. I did not own. I have watches, but I never wore them until I got my Apple Watch. And
I could definitely see it.
I've worn. But listen, I've worn this Apple Watch every day since I've owned it.
I know that, and we've talked.
I could see it for. I could see it for navigation and car use.
Yeah,
wearing these goggles.
Well, they're not goggles. They're like
AR.
I know what
like
they
HoloLens
are.
type.
It'd be just like your caddy. It'd be like your caddy out there with its HUD that shoots it on the windshield. Instead, it would keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah.
I could definitely see. You know what? That's what you should do, Apple. You should make safety first.
Bruce is going to double down on that.
And they could
safety and privacy.
They could say, yeah.
And so, if your text and all came up while you're trying to drive,
well, no, not your text.
Well, who would stop it?
But if it told you,
I'm sure it would use Apple CarPlay. Isn't that what they call it?
No.
Yeah,
CarPlay. Well, yeah,
it could use Apple CarPlay, so it could be like, hey, you're driving, so it's going to tell you your speed limit, what the the current speed limit is, what your speed is, which way you need to turn.
I could see if that did that,
and it would keep you.
Then I could definitely
focused
see
on the road.
And think about these third-party apps.
And if it senses you're falling asleep, it can zap you.
But think of these third-party apps that do navigation,
and
like
it'll only
Google
connect
Maps,
to an iPhone.
Waze.
Yeah, Waze. And maybe because like they still allow you to use Waze and Google in CarPlay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes,
because they have admitted Apple's maps.
But Apple won't be able to sell it. Walmart will have to sell it to be legal.
What, the goggles
or anything they create?
Oh, that.
Eventually, they'll just have to create the stuff, and somebody else will have to sell it.
Michael.
What are we on?
It's back to the headline from the first and
Elizabeth,
second hour.
That's what she wants to do. She says that the company can't sell its own product.
But it's platforms. It
doesn't matter.
That's like
that's what it'll get to.
It's different. That's physical product.
Never trust government. It's Michael's.
I'm gonna save us from this real quick.
I agree. You probably should never trust the government.
Nope.
Are those telling you not to?
Hey, Techie Show. Be right back.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show. I heard no difference in that. This whole time I've basically been doing it with zero on my headset. Didn't even realize it. Oh, you know what?
I
didn't have a noise cancellation on.
Oh.
And speaking of that, I don't know how I've ever gotten along without noise cancellation up to this point.
It's great,
it's nice,
isn't
it?
It's
Yeah.
amazing. I use it at my house all the time. That's the God's honest truth. I mean, I can really
come home, headset on. Bloop.
No, I don't mean it that way. I mean,
I love being at home. It's so quiet here.
Well, what I'm saying
They're
is,
like, Dad, the house is on fire.
Yeah, but my headsets aren't.
These
but
headsets
seriously,
are fire. Can't hear a thing.
Yeah, right. But seriously, now that you bring that up, I really was thinking about it outside in the green room earlier today that I was going to bring it up. Really enjoy that feature because I can study at home. I can put them on,
I bet.
and they can watch the TV and nothing's really they're doing what they're doing, and I can be at the table reading my Bible or what have you, and really can immerse in it and not be disturbed.
I will say though,
what?
People will scare the crap out of you.
They could that's true.
Because I've had my headphones on and people are just chit-chatting away and they're just talking to me and they come up and tap me. I'm like, oh God.
Now I don't use it all the time, so it just depends on the situation. But if my wife's going to watch something and I'm not going to watch it, I'll do something.
I
else.
definitely use them at work. Whenever I need to be immersed in.
Oh yeah, and I can totally understand your situation.
Yeah,
that's
so
different.
It's if I need to focus, and then
I would be terrible in a cubicle environment. It would be awful.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It would be hard for me to focus.
It is still hard for me.
Now, see, I'm out and about a lot, so I'm not in my. But if I was needing to be in my office for a particular, it would drive me
even the offices,
bananas.
even the offices we have, I sit on the opposite side of one of the managers. When he'll close his door when he has to take phone calls, hear every single word.
Wow, thin doors.
Well, no, I mean the thing is they put all this stuff in that's supposed to dampen all that. But I don't know. Like it just
didn't work.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Now I will say we don't have them, at least not on our floor, but I've seen them around. But they're now, of course, in our building we do have several places you can go just into a room by yourself if you need to.
Right.
But at some of our other locations, they have. I think I sent y'all a picture of it. It's like these little. They're about the size of a small. What?
Nothing. Sorry, Guru. No, not really. You didn't send it to me. No.
And I haven't said what it is.
No.
It's like these kind of a little closet that you sit in it, and it's got a little space just big enough to set your laptop. And it's got little chargers.
Penalty box.
It's like a penalty box, but you close the door, completely silent.
Wow.
And it's got a little bit of white noise in it.
Okay.
And it's got a fan that keeps air circulating.
That's always good.
They're really neat. Very.
I'm going to the penalty box. I'll see that later.
But I will say, I want to say they have a stationary stool in them, and it's real modern design. It's that kind of S flow, so it's not.
Well, it's not intended for you to stay all day.
Yeah,
it's not like McDonald's. Eat and go.
Like, well, I was gonna say it's like hey, take a 15-30 minute call in this, and that'd be it.
Right.
But I'm just like, man, I want an office like this. And you
comfortable chair, a couch.
I forget which university it is, but they have one of those chambers that's like supposed to be the quietest place in the world that you can even hear like your heartbeat, and like you can't stay in there but only so long, or apparently it drives you crazy. I'd love to go in there. I think I could win the world record at whatever it is.
Wow.
How about that?
Did you know that Apple AirPlay 2 is going to hit Roku players in Roku OS smart TVs?
Oh wow, think that's a smart move.
I do too. I'm surprised this hasn't happened before. Actually,
it's Apple.
I know, but still,
do you think they're going to get rid of the Apple TV?
That is a good theory. That's a good question.
It's been a while since they've updated. Of course, it was a while since they had updated the Mac Mini, and they came.
It has a lot slower hardware refresh cycle, and that may be just because of the nature of the device.
Well, it's let me.
But
let
to me, other than needing the store, like I know they finally implemented the store, and you have to have a certain one to do that.
Right. Like some of the older ones don't support.
Correct.
The,
so
store.
other than that, I can't see why you would upgrade one.
Yeah.
I mean, it does the same stuff.
Yeah, the newest,
in general,
the newest support 4K.
Yeah, I realize that. No, that would be the.
Now if they came out with the 8K one,
sure, right, or 300K.
Well, it's been 543 days since the last update, and their average is 589.
So they're pushing
the
top end of that.
Of course, they have gone 1,097 in the past.
Oh well. Yeah.
But that was in 2012, so there probably wasn't. Displays hadn't changed a whole lot between 2012 and 2015.
Right.
So why even come out with it?
That's
It could probably do 240. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
240.
It could probably 1080p at 240 hertz is what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Sure.
And there was no need to. So, but now there's a need to.
Yeah.
Get ready to support 8K for those.
Sure.
People that have $50,000 to spend on a screen.
Exactly right.
But the Apple Watch is mid-product cycle. So average is 418 days. It's only been 179.
I will be curious to see how well this Samsung S10 does.
What would it take for you to swap to a Samsung?
A lot.
They would have to pay me.
Well,
no. If you could change some things, what would it take for you to swap to Samsung?
I know what it is.
Keep the I've got to buy a device out of mind.
I hate the back button stuff. I hate the navigation.
Okay.
I hate the navigation.
So the UI.
Yeah, I hate the UI.
It is weird.
My wife loves it, but she's used to it.
Yeah,
and I know we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
but
it's what you're used to.
I hate it.
But I will. This could be one reason, real quick. I know we're about out of time, but Samsung announced on Friday that the Spotify app will come pre-installed on the latest Samsung smartphones, including the Galaxy S10, S10 Plus.
I don't understand
and
that.
so on and so forth.
I know that.
That's decision.
Money.
Just more crapware on your device.
Well, I wouldn't say Spotify's crapware.
Well, I'm just saying, but the
person doesn't want it.
The eye of the beholder there.
But
yeah.
we can install. You can install. I don't understand what.
If
I know it's money. I get it.
Yeah, it's money.
I know. I don't have a problem with it.
I agree with you on the UI. If they would change that, if they would get rid of Bixby,
you know what?
I take the Samsung market.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem.
Basically, you have a Pixel phone.
Yeah. Here's my problem. I have pure Google.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
It's hard to go back.
It's hard to go anywhere.
I'm
really sorry.
Well, hey, come over here.
Well, no, I'm not
talking. Better on the
that's a
iPhone
different
side.
OS. That's a different
It's
OS.
better.
I'm talking about in Google OS. In Android. I just think once you're using it, it's just.
I will say, I had a buddy that was a Samsung for years. This is back when HTC was still doing its thing, was doing great. And I was like, you need to try an HTC phone. And I forget which one he went with. But he's like, man, this makes so much more sense.
Right.
And he hasn't gone back to Samsung since. And then I think whenever I swapped from HTC to Pixel, or just to pure Google, I was like, I kind of miss because HTC did some cool stuff with the weather on their phone.
Right.
But I was like, after I got over that, I was like, man, this just makes so much more sense.
Yeah. It's just less cluttered. To me, it's just less clutter. But anyway. Well, look, the Hey Techies show has enjoyed this 2 hours, and we hope you have a wonderful week. Hopefully catch you next week. Hey Techies show.